Hello and welcome back to episode 39, Granny. I can't believe we're 2 episodes without Blake already. I forgot what his name is.
Yeah, we've forgotten him already, the other guy.
That's right.
Another guy.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, he did originally start off as the other guy and then sequentially ended up as the other guy as well. But I suppose I just want to touch base on the deal that I got from last week. So basically that Nintendo lot that we spoke about right at the end of the episode like that. It only got crazier on the rest of the day. So before we go into the episode, and it's going to be a very quick one today because I'm quite time pressured before little hurricanes come and attack me. But so I don't know if I can't remember how I explained it last week, but I found the thing on Facebook Marketplace. I literally got in the car and drove right down there. But I forgot a crucial step. So basically I had my daughter here and she was waiting for collection by her friends. So I got my daughter in the car, drove her around the corner to a friend's house and told, her friend's mum that I was, what I got, the Nintendo deal. I'm going down South Canberra to pick it up and all these different things. And the conversation came up of all things. And she said, hey, I was going to donate these to Vinnie's. Would you like them? And I said, I'm not too sure. We'll talk about it when I go pick up Olivia. So went around, after Granny and I finished doing the podcast, and she gave me a SEGA Mega Drive, a SEGA Master System, my beloved Master System, which I've been looking for, and a batshit crazy amount of games. That's probably about half the ones. So the ones that are white, they're the SEGA Master System games, right? So they are going in my collection that I've started now because I picked up the Nintendo lot. I will sell the Nintendo lot. Over the next couple of days, I'll probably put it onto eBay, but they're basically going to be funding my SEGA Master System collection. So these are SEGA Master System games. So for the grand total of $0 for all of those. So
wow,
nice
fun.
Yeah, so what started off as losing my keys down the drain and having someone come rescue me turned out to be the craziest day ever. But
yeah,
that was pretty much my week. Besides that, been working all week, Granny, and you've been pretty quiet in your own respect. You've been busy in yourself. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been very busy actually because I've been working at getting all that stuff that fell off eBay, those books and stuff. I've been working at getting those listed, and I found some really high value books in there. So that's one thing I've been doing, and plus I'm about to start a new challenge. So. There's a little issue that I have getting older that happens to quite a few people that sort of perhaps grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Is it incontinence?
Well, no. It's not incontinence. But, look, we spend too much time listening to loud music and cranking up the speakers and, not taking care of our hearing. And, I'm starting to get a little bit of an issue listening to deeper voices, men's voices, I don't always pick it up. I've got to say, hey, what'd you say? That sort of thing. So I'm looking at having to go and get my ears tested, but I have actually checked out how much hearing aids cost, and they are crazy expensive. So I actually picked up a while ago a couple of bags of bulk clothing, like more or less it was basically picked up a pallet of stuff from one of the local op shops that they sold it to me for $30. So there's 2 of those great, huge, big striped bags full of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I've started today. I've been doing the prep for that, get that stuff listed because it all cost me $30. I'm going to try and turn that into enough money to buy hearing aids. How about that?
Oh, nice. So, you're kind of doing like the 1 foot flipper thing. So,
well, yeah, look, I figured that, like the younger ones, like, the everyday flipper and stuff, they're saving up their money for a car, you know. Well, I'm a bit older than that. So I need to look at saving up money for something that's relevant to me. So I thought, well, look, that's probably going to be on the horizon. So I'll look at starting to save up some money for some hearing aids.
Well, I have noticed that you've replaced the other guy and me with the Thursday morning chat with another guy with equally deep voice.
Yes.
So how's Rob? Rob's been pretty good.
Rob's very good. Yes, he's the master of policies. I have to say, he's very good on the whole policy thing and knows all the rules and that sort of thing. So very handy for him, that sort of thing. A very knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So I was even pleased to see that he actually got himself a chair for this video that came out on Thursday.
Yes, he did. So I think the Thursday morning community live is evolving quite well. It's it just takes a bit of time getting used to having that different interaction with someone different, and it's good.
Good.
I think it's done quite well.
I can tell you what, it's infinitely easier watching it than being.
I guess so. Yeah, look, and I seem to have this problem. I'm surrounding myself with men with deep voices. So, it's got a bit of an issue, but anyway.
No, that's right. Yeah, well, that's right. Well, obviously, by the sounds of it, you've got to type, which is fine. There's nothing against people having types, but yes. But speaking of which, we did receive some comments from our last video, which I don't have on me, but I kind of want to address something that came in the comment section. I'm just going to paraphrase what the comment was kind of like. I can't remember this person. I think they've only commented a few times on the channel, so I'm not too sure if they're a regular viewer. Or that they watch and they just basically comment as they see fit, which is equally fine. Like I said, that me and I suppose Granny to an extent is that we're not beyond reprieve. That if we do something wrong, or basically we say something that's out of line, more than welcome to pull us up on it. Like the Aussie nurse Flipper does it every time. My beloved Graham. Hello, Graham. How are you?
Yes, hello, Graham.
I suppose that. But
I think Graham's left me. He seems to have stopped watching me. I must have insulted him too much.
No, that's right. No, but Graham's good. He keeps commenting on my shorts. That's how I know I'm still alive. I get my little Graham pop-up message. But no, I think that, like I said, that we would normally, basically roll over and say if we've made a mistake. If we've made a mistake, we'll take ownership over for it, and apologize if we're in the wrong, right?
Yeah.
But
100%.
the comment in question relied basically, they think that we were taking swipes at people in the Facebook groups last week. I can't stress enough how opposed I am to this comment. That's probably the biggest thing to say. I was very diplomatic in my response. Like I've been on other channels and I'm not pointing fingers or pointing tentacles. Is that if they don't like the comment, this is across every niche in YouTube. It's not just reselling. If they don't like the comment, they'll delete it, or they'll basically be a smart ass, or they'll take swipes at the person, right? I like to think I'm quite diplomatic. If you're taking the time to make a comment, regardless what stance you take, or as long as you're not taking the piss, I'll respond and give you a response in that respect. What I want to bring attention to is that when we raise concerns about Facebook group members and questions that are in Facebook groups, I would be amiss to say that these people are going to fail, and they're going to fail hard. I can't stress that enough. Is that it mightn't be seen as being being nice or being polite or being civil. We're running a business, right? Like a business, that what it comes down to is that I don't want to see people fail. I'm not one of those people thinking that has the mindset of, hey, look, if I just ignore Leanne when she asks questions and she just lives to her own devices and fails abysmally, she's out of the market. So there's a competitor that's down. I look at it from the sense that I quite enjoy the teaching aspect. I quite enjoy the discussion aspect. I quite enjoy all those different things. Just because my thought patterns and Leanne's to a degree don't align with what's probably seen as being, polite or civil or, I suppose, socially acceptable in some obscure range of the internet. It doesn't necessarily mean we're wrong, right? So this is what I like. The biggest thing that I've got with a lot of YouTubers, not every YouTuber, but a lot of the YouTubers, is that they kind of lull their audience into groupthink, right? And I don't want to make this like a bitching session. I don't want to tell everyone to suck eggs and all these different things. You need to look at things from different angles, regardless of if because Granny and I disagree all the time, right? But when we disagree, I take her opinion on board. I could be and I have been completely wrong before. Not that I publicly admit. I'll delete this out. Minion J, delete that bit out. But but anyway, what we'll do is we'll actually I'll take into consideration her point of view, her opinion, and take the best part of it away. And if it doesn't work with my business or my structure of the way I do processes and stuff like this, cool, no worries. I'll look at it and shelve it. But on the flip side is you can't just think that the way that you do things is correct. And if someone challenges that way of thinking, you get defensive and you think they're taking swipes at people and making fun of people. Like if these people were running a business like a shop and mortar store, they would be having a closing down sale 20 minutes into opening that store.
Yep.
they need all the help they can get. And this is what I can't stress enough, is that people romanticize about reselling. They watch it on the news, they watch YouTubers, they watch all these different things. They think it's easy. They can go to the shop, pick up something and sell it for 10 times the amount of money. When it doesn't sell in 15 and a half minutes, like they say, they melt out. Like, I can't stress enough, like, if you can't do it, get out of reselling. Don't make yourself destitute. Don't lose money. Don't do everything because you just thought someone could do it and you can mimic it.
Well, I think part of the issue too is, Octo, that, look, people they're not grown up. They don't behave maturely in these groups because, you can actually agree to disagree. It's okay. You can actually listen to someone else's viewpoint. It doesn't mean that you have to actually agree with what they're saying, and it's okay to voice your opinion, but it also doesn't mean that you can sort of say unequivocally that the other person's wrong, because everybody has their own way of doing it. And, we say that all the time. Like, and I always say that when I'm showing people stuff on my YouTube videos, I'm telling you how I do it. It may not necessarily be the right way, but that is how I do it. So if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, hey, go and find some other way of doing it. But, like, we need to be grown up about it and, accept the fact that people have different opinions, and so what?
And then I think, and I'll close up on this statement, is that I think I've said before, but I'd rather make you cry than make you lose your house. And that's what it comes down to, is that, I don't particularly care if you don't like what I'm doing because it hurts your feelings. If that hurt feelings makes you give you enough pause to reconsider your stance or the way that your business is going, so be it. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hold your tentacles and basically drag you down the garden path thinking, everything's going to be all right, that it's just a complete shit fight. This is part of the reason why I went back to work for, is the economy is changing. Sales are drying up. eBay's changing. We don't have an alternative platform. We don't have Whatnot. We don't have Macari. We don't have Bonanza, or whatever the hell they call it in the States. Yes, we surely don't have the railroad reseller here. But these are these things you need to take into consideration. Like Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay are becoming more and more out of reach to sustain a full-time income. Unless you're kind of, it's almost like you always had to get in and stabilize yourself before COVID. And I know there's exceptions to the rule. Don't chase me with a pitchfork. But unless you're willing to work 80 hours a week, which I was, even now I'm doing 9 to 5 plus probably 2 hours either side of that as well. Reselling's not 10 minutes and list a couple of things and you'll go out for morning tea and high five everyone. It's really
you're absolutely right. Like, and I mean, even for me, that when I first started, I was that eBay was going to be it. That was it. No other. I was not going to cross list or do anything anywhere else. And I've had to pivot and change. And so I'm selling on Depop. I'm going to be selling on Amazon. I've got a couple of other little side hustles. And the reason for that, as you say, is the economy's changed. The reselling, the way people resell, what people are wanting to buy, everything's changed. And we have to be able to, if you want to support ourselves, we have to be able to pivot and change with that as well. So, it's no longer a big badge of honor to say, oh, I'm a full-time reseller, because it's all dependent on your circumstances. Like someone like myself, and because I live in the country, things are cheaper here. Because I'm older, I don't need as much money to live. I don't have dependents living at home, all those sorts of things. Like I can actually do it as a full-time reseller, but a lot of people couldn't. Because they have a lot more expenses, like yourself.
There's no shame. There's no shame of anyone that wanted to try full-time reselling and goes back to work. It's not. Your business is not a failure. You're not a failure as a person. All these different things. And even and I have had some critics offline. Basically laugh that I had to go back to work. And I wouldn't hold any grudges against them if they find themselves. And I can guarantee you now, they will find themselves in that situation in the next 12 months. Like there is no way around it. Like. People think the screws are tightening now. Give it 12 to 24 months. You need to look at things from a macro perspective. And I'm not trying to bring this to be a university lecture or higher education mentalities, but you need to forecast what the environment's doing in the next 12 to 24 months. And I suppose where myself personally is that I kind of seen things, the writing on the wall, and I was lucky that my organization, I can jump in and jump out as much as I like. But if you, and what I found previously, and I had worked in the mines before, like a consultancy company for the mines, our company closed down, and then all of a sudden there was like 1,000 people looking for work at the same time. Don't get into that situation with reselling. And I know it's, in contrast, it's quite small, but you don't really want to keep. I suppose the crux of the matter is keep your skill set current. Like what you've done reselling, like, if you're handling money and business structures and you're writing business plans and all these different things, these are transferable skills, right? So these are skills that you can implement into the workforce. Like, just don't think, well, I've been sitting on my butt for the last 2 years and doing reselling. Portray it in a different perspective. Look at it in a different light. Say, hey, look, I've done business plans. I've done business structures. I've been, a CEO of my own company and all these different things. As long as you know how to do it. Don't dribble stuff just for the sake of, you think you've been when you're realistically just been playing eBay, and that sounds horrible in its sense.
Well, even Kevin the Commonwealth Picker in one of his recent videos was talking about how he's not actually, he doesn't class himself as a full-time reseller, whereas people would actually take it that he is, but he said he's not because he makes a fair whack of his income off YouTube. Plus he's got some other things happening as well. And he's got those other platforms also that he can, spread out his reselling on. But he freely admits he's only a part-time reseller. And I think that's something that people forget.
Yeah, and that's something like I said, that me personally, I think that you need multiple streams of income, right? So where at the traditional that you work 9 to 5, you've got enough money to cover your rent, your food, and your expenses, and then that was what back in the 1980s, like traditionally the man of the house would work, the female would look over the kids and all these different things. I'm not being sexist, I'm just saying how it was. Then we moved to 2000 where both people have to work. I think the next evolution in that is going to be more than multiple streams of income. So you're not only are you doing your 9 to 5, you're probably going to have to go work at Coles or Woolworths or Walmart after hours packing shelves just to supplement your income because you're not covering enough to do all these different things. So I think reselling personally is a phenomenal stream of income because it's almost like a passive income, especially if you find something that's quantifiable.
Yeah, look, I think it's one of the best. Reselling is one of the best side hustles you can do, especially if you've got access to the types of stuff that sells and, you can make it work for yourself. And if it's something that if you're selling stuff that you enjoy, like you look at you with your, different Nintendo and SEGA systems and stuff like that, the games, like that's your thing. You love it and you get excited about it. And so having that stuff to sell, I mean, I get excited about the souvenir teaspoons and, the vintage books and the vintage clothes. Like if you're excited about it, then it's not actually your side hustle, the hobby, isn't it? Like it's enjoyable and it's fun and it takes away from the pressure of what you do for your job, which not everybody enjoys their job either. Just quietly, boys and girls.
And I think, as much as I think reselling is a fantastic side hustle and brings in income, it's also dangerous in the sense, like I said a bit earlier, is I've just finished recording a reaction video to "Gotta Sell Them All Australia," right? Phenomenal guy. Check out his channel. I made mention in an early version because I did about 16 takes. His editing skills surpass me. He's done 3 videos at the moment, and he's fantastic. He's a natural. I think he should go far. But the fact of the matter is he bought a $300 pop, right? So he paid $220 for this pop. These things, if you make a lot of those buys without them selling through, you could find yourself in a lot of financial stress quite quickly. Is that, if you do like a side hustle, just say if you work for Coles or you work for packing shelves or stuff like that after hours, you're getting paid. You're getting paid considerable amount for the hours that you work. But with reselling, like what Leanne was saying, is that if you don't know what it is, and it's very slow to sell through, that you'd be sitting on stock that mightn't sell. Like you've got that cash outlay. So there's it's not all roses from that perspective. You need to be very mindful. And it's also an opportunity for you to build your skill sets. And what I've said previously, if you don't enjoy your job, don't go full time. Improve yourself or look for other employment opportunities. There's infinite ways around it. So.
And just on how quickly things sell, right? I'm just going to give you some examples of some stuff that I've recently sold. So the last thing I sold, which was a pair of shorts, they took 214 days to sell. Before that, I sold a set of paperback, it's a trilogy, which only took 24 days to sell. But then I sold a pair of Tommy Hilfiger jeans, which took 241 days to sell. I've got a cardigan which I got last winter, hasn't sold, but it's coming up to cooler weather. That's sold, but that took 327 days to sell. I've got another top that took 343 days to sell. Then I've got stuff that has sold in, a couple of days. I've got a VHS video that took 8 days to sell. I've got books that took 30 to 40 days to sell, which is ideal. But I'm just saying that things don't necessarily sell, in that really quick time. So you can start accumulating stuff. And look, I'm lucky because I pay bugger all for my stuff. But if you're paying big dollars for some of these things, and, I've got books worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I've recently listed on eBay. Like if I'd paid a lot of money for those books, $200 to resell it for $1,000, that's fine. But if it sits there for 12 months, that money's just sitting there dead. Is it not? And
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose, and I've said numerous times before, is that my sourcing model, I want a 30-day turnaround, right? So I want a 100% sell-through rate in the next 30 days. That I know that there's going to be outliers to that, right? So, and there's a lot of things in my store at the moment that probably need to be reworked and all these different things to bring it in line with that in the process of culling it down. Because I'm, tech and sports and I disagree on a lot of things. I'm in no way holding myself to that light of what that man has done. But I'm a big believer in what he says is that he likes to send dollars out and they want to come back with a friend. So, make your money work for you. So, like, if you're going to buy $5 worth of stuff, I want to at least get, $15 to come back or $10 profit or something. Yeah, as long as that $5 goes out and I get $5 profit back, in proportion, right? Like, you have to use your common sense with things. I'm happy with that. And like I said, as long as I can sell those items within 30 days, and I've been quite ruthless, especially when I've been going out to the thrift stores lately, is that where I would pick up a t-shirt or where I would pick up a pair of jeans, that I'm becoming more ruthless with that because I don't need to sustain myself as a full-time reseller anymore. And you always get to the point where you fall into a cult mentality is that, you need to sell, you need to list on eBay, 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 because if you don't list on eBay, you don't sell. And you get a lot of people that, gear towards those different things. See, personally, once I build up a little bit of slush fund in the Octopus account again, I'm going to start looking in replenishables, right? So stuff that I can, have it as a store and just basically just tick it off and go from there. So,
Yeah. And look, I guess, Two Aussie Thrifters are a perfect example of, how you can go against the trend of having to have a big store because their new store that they've started, they've only got, I think, I don't know, bugger all, like 40 items maybe in their store, but they're selling things. They're selling things that they've picked up the same week and then they're selling them. And paying big money for them, like $80 for a pair of R.M. Williams boots, but then they're going on to sell those boots for $150 and selling them in a few days, like, sometimes
that's
within
right.
1 day. So that's a big difference. Yeah. So that's the way you work your business.
And I think that, especially from like a lot of people, and I've been watching a lot of reselling content from the States, right? Because, I have my favorites in Australia that I watch religiously, but then I'm delving more, like, especially with this Octo Reacts, video that I'm releasing on a weekly basis. I'm trying to push it out there because I think I'd be very amiss just to react to Australian videos, right? Because what we've said before is that stuff that's happening in the States, there's a good chance it's going to come across to our way because just by virtue that our economies follow very similar in that respect, right?
Yes.
So
just a bit later on, a bit like fashion trends.
That's right.
That's a bit later on.
Well, that's right. So you need to be mindful of these different things and take into consideration from the bigger picture, right? Like, yes, Australia's like, important and all those different things. And I'm not trying to, as much as I've got some friends in the States from the reselling space, because, like this platform is fantastic for, getting new people to talk to you and, reaching out and like that. But I also think that, like I'm not trying to cater to the American market, right? Like I'm not trying to try and bigwig with, Dave and, Kevin and the Railroad Reseller and Soda City Flips and stuff like that. I enjoy talking to them. I'll talk to them and all those different things. But my content's not for the benefit of the American audience, right? So as much as I'd love to, reach into the American space, but I think, especially with the Octo Reacts things, is I'm going to bring stuff that's obviously from America into Australia as well, just to take consideration, because it's more or less, it's a talking point segment, right? So basically when they say something, when they talk about stuff, so I'm actually doing one on Grams and Pop's vintage to think Corey and Teresa. So basically, long story short, that they got scammed for about $1,200 American, right? So bought fake toys. So what their legal options or their legal remedies available to them in the States is completely different to us in Australia, right?
Absolutely,
so what happens? Yeah. So what happens? And like I'm not a lawyer by any means, but I have done legal courses and business legal in university before. So I can give you some guidance. Not don't follow it to the T, but I can give you some ideas what's going on. But if you're in that situation and there was no misrepresentation, hypothetically, if I sold Leanne $1,200 worth of transformers, right, and they were all fake. There's a thing it's Latin, right? It's called caveat emptor, which basically translates into buyer beware. So if Leanne hits, so Facebook Marketplace revolves around buyer beware, right? So if I go buy, Leanne comes to my house, picks up the transformers and goes away, and she goes, "Oh, hey, these are fake," and it's like, "Cool story, bro. Needs more dragons." You shit out of luck, right? Like.
Yep.
Unless where it becomes a bit more complicated is it that Leanne reaches out to me and says, "Hey, look, I'm not too big on transformers. I'm not too, not all over them. Are they genuine or are they fake?" And I'm like, no, they're completely genuine. They're all good. I'm a collector and I've been collecting for 40 years and these are fantastic.
Changes the whole thing, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. That becomes a misrepresentation, right? So basically, I've given you evidence, has all made you to believe that, the course of action is different. So basically that's when in Australia, you can pursue me like the way, Grams and Pop's Vintage are pursuing the seller of there. So you can take me to court for a misrepresentation and get your money back from that perspective.
Yeah.
But if you just click on an item on Facebook Marketplace and, you buy just say a Sony PlayStation or something like that, and you go pick it up, then you get it home, you're like, this is not working, or it's, all these different things, unless you physically ask the question or unless it was advertised as working, you've really got no tentacle to stand on. So you need to be very mindful. And it's going to probably be more of an in-depth episode because I like to keep them around 15 to 20 minutes, right? The full members cut of the one I did today with Johnny is 40 minutes. So I have to shear off a lot of the stuff. I have to shear off that. But his video was 16 minutes, right? So Grams and Pop's Vintage is about 50
you're talking
minutes,
a lot, in other words.
That's right. Yeah, I like the sound of my own voice. But I suppose, I just like talking.
And it is like, so as an example too, I will say something that I picked up on during the week. So we've been actually having a bit of a look on some of the auctions on eBay to see if we can snipe stuff, because we did notice one particular place, one particular, shall we say, charity type shop that's got a, that does do some auction listings on eBay. And we noticed that they had some stuff that last time that sold really cheap that we could snipe. So we had a look this week to see what they had. And one of the things I noticed is that they had this particular doll, and it is a vintage doll, and it is actually quite valuable. And I ummed and ahed because it was going quite cheap at the time, like, at the start. But then I actually read the things, and it actually says pretty much that it hasn't been tested. Now, it doesn't take much to put a couple of batteries in the back. So I had to then ask myself, well, why didn't they test it? Or have they actually tested it and it's not working? So, you've really got to, and you'd have to then go along, message them, check that it is working to have any comeback. Because if you go and buy that as is thinking, oh, well, because it's a charity shop, they haven't had time to test it, blah, 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 and you go and buy it, well, too bad, so sad.
Oh, you remind me of something that I wanted to bring up in this episode as well, is that I watched an episode of my beloved Rockstar Flipper because, we're both idiots. Hello. So he brought up, he did an episode or a video yesterday about people exploiting or abusing return policies, right? So, and this was something that I did see in the Facebook group probably a couple of days ago, might even be close to a week ago, is that if you buy something and it doesn't sell, do you take it back to the store that you bought it from? So is that something
as in when it's a charity or an op shop? That's what it was specifically relating to.
Well, that's right. But I suppose that I'll push it out. I'll push it out further as well, is that if you buy an item from a brick and mortar store, just hypothetically, you bought it from Walmart or you bought it from Kmart or Big W if you're in Australia, or you bought it from a thrift store, and you have a 30-day return policy. What's your stance? And by all means, put it in the comment section below, because I'm quite interested in the stance that people come from here. Is that I haven't previously done it, because like a lot of the things I've sold previously, my store previously, is that they're long tail stuff, right? So my other store is geared towards season 4. So I stock up in the start of the year, I get all the specials and do a lot of retail arbitrage. Trying to say RA and arbitrage at the same time. Rabotage. There you go. New word. We'll have to do that.
New word. Oh,
put hashtag rabotage.
So I actually got asked during the week because I said death pile in one word, and I got told, well, shouldn't that be 2 words? And I said, nope, that's a new reseller term, one word.
That's right. But so I'd be quite curious.
Rabotage, we'll make that a new word.
Rabotage and death pile. But I'm quite curious to see what people's stances are, because to me, that if I've bought the product and it's advertised as it is, so if hypothetically, if I go to Kmart or Big W and I buy a product and then I get it home and it's like a DVD or something like that, it's completely scratched and all those different things because someone's returned it previously, or EB Games, for example, like our game, I think in America you call it GameStop. If I go there and buy a game and it's been pre-owned and it's got scratches all over it, that's not fit for purpose, right? So basically, I didn't buy it to be scratched. But if I buy that game thinking that I'm going to resell it, then I've got 30 days to return it. I wouldn't return it. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that business sense. You got to take a level of risk on in your business, that. From my sense, that and everyone's got different. And I'm not going to say one way is right or one way is the other. If you do want to know my stance, watch the Rockstar Flipper video, and my stance aligns with his. But
I can't say I haven't returned anything to an op shop. I guess it would depend, and I will preempt that by saying it would depend on what it was. But I mean, I think the most expensive thing I've probably bought from an op shop was $20. For a pair of shoes that I resold for $160. So I can't argue with that, and they were fine. But, generally speaking, I'm spending $1 to $5 on things. And if I get them home and I've missed a hole or I've missed something in them or get them home and they're fake, I actually did buy something when I was in Werribee last time, a pair of Stone Island, they're called, pants, and they look fantastic. And I didn't realise they were valuable, but they actually are quite valuable if you've got real ones. But mine happened to be fake, apparently. They cost me $7. Even if I lived near there, I still wouldn't take them back. I'll probably just try and sell them on Depop. Someone will buy them, sell them cheap on Depop.
And I suppose that, this line of questioning was basically when Rockstar Flipper was talking about, he was talking about Amazon returns and all those different things, right? So you're going through Amazon. But a lot of thrift stores or charity op shops or whatever over here is that they sell as is, right? So if you purchase that shop, and it comes almost down to that under Australian consumer law that there's no such thing as is, right? But I think it becomes a bit more murky with non-profit agencies and all those different things. I'm not saying that they should take you for a ride and all these different things, but I have been to Salvo's stores before where they've sold with Johnny's video that I did, he bought a 3DS, right? But they didn't have a charger for it. So they said, look, hey, go home, charge it up. If it doesn't work, we're more than happy to bring it back because we have no way of testing it, right? So, and if it didn't work, I know how to fix it. So, for the price I paid, I was happy to take the gamble. But, I could understand in that situation. And they did offer that, saying, hey, look, we have no way of testing this. If it doesn't work, bring it back and, we'll go from there. I was like, cool, no worries, happy with that. But I think people need to be mindful of that. You can't just, reselling, is a business. You have to have some sort of risk associated with that. You're going to be quickly driven out of the op shops or out of retail environments if you're going in there and filling a trolley up with Lego because it's on special and you're like, I'm going to sell this for double the price. Then you realize it's a ship theme or, it's or
it's fake Lego.
It's all fake Lego and stuff like that. And you try and take it back, like a trolley load back. You're going to be politely told, no, go away. Or, And a lot of places are moving away from change of my returns now. So you need to be very mindful of these different things. You need to do your research first, especially a lot of people look at the clearance section, right? They get excited. They see clearance sticker on and they go, I'm going to, it used to sell for $100. It's on clearance for $15. I'm going to make a monster. And I've fallen into this trap before but why is it on clearance? If it was that, if it was that accessible, that it could go for potentially $100. There's a reason why it hasn't sold for that. So you just need to be do some digging into it, just to be mindful that you're not making a mistake.
A silly mistake. Yes, agreed.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I think the thing is with it buying something, and it would really only be sort of your electronic type things that you don't know whether they're working or not. And, I mean, most op shops, if you get something just like that Nintendo that you're talking about, like the DS, like if they haven't got a charger or they're unable to test it, they're going to say to you, if you ask them, have you got a cable for it or does it work? They're going to turn around and say to you, oh, look, we're selling it as is, that's it. Or if it doesn't work, bring it back. I mean, have a conversation with them if you need to, if you're spending a lot of money.
And it comes down to, and like, I know I keep on harping on about Johnny, but you had a run-in with the cash converters, right? So he was after a Funko Pop. It was $300. He was trying to get it down to 150 or something like this. And, the lady said, no, the best I can do is 280 or something like this. And the way he handled it is textbook of how you handle these negotiations, right? He didn't chuck a tantrum. He didn't throw his marbles out of the cot. He didn't, chuck a tantrum. Like, I haven't seen any Australian YouTubers, but I've seen a lot of American YouTubers where they lose their marbles because they don't get what they want. They've kind of always been attuned to being told yes, or by virtue of who they are, they've got like some sort of ego going for it. But you just need to build these relationships with thrift stores, because if you go in there often enough, you say, hey, look, Leanne, I came in last week and this jumped out a hole in it. All right, no worries, Octo. It was $7. I'll knock $7 off today. I wouldn't do that, but that's something you could do. Like, or that, once you get to the checkout, like, it gets to the checkout now, my friend that works at the op shop, friend loosely in the sense that, just the relationship I built with him, he'll actually check the jeans for me as I get to the shop. Like when, once he's putting them through, you'll have a quick look to make sure I haven't missed anything. But when you watch him through other people, he just goes, oh, how are you going, Leanne? Good, bip, 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 and he's gone, right? So when he's talking to me, he's talking to me and actively checking the stuff as I go through. So these are the things that you can build on relationships for. Like, just don't, like I said in the video that I did for Johnny, is that the lady that he was talking to was just doing a job, right? Like, she's has no vested interest in it. That's not exactly the same at thrift store and op shops. Like, I'm famously known for disliking Vinnies, even more so after watching TikToks. I'm TikTok famous now, Leanne.
Watch out.
I got 6 followers and I didn't have to pay for them.
Ooh, exciting.
But so watching TikToks, and like every horror story I hear from a charity perspective is always Vinnies. Even from an op shop perspective, up here, like I said, I can't speak for everywhere, but in Canberra, like Salvation Army is the one to go to, and they're kind of sliding as well. Like, I've had a few talks to a couple of managers that I know in the Salvo store that have a swipe at Vinnies, but then I'll say, well, you can't talk because you've upped your jeans to $25 a pair as well.
And there is a big difference between a Salvo's thrift store and a Salvo's store. Just saying.
Because like earlier in the week I did that challenge like as a short, because I'm trying to do a short a day. Not very successfully. I'm still trying to do it, but I thrifted a meal, right? So basically, where I went to Aldi and spent $12. I went to Salvo's last week when I went with Emma to buy some pots and pans and stuff. And I think I spent $14. So it's good from that respect. But I think if you need to look at the store, right? Like, if you walk in there and it looks like you're walking into the Louis Vuitton of Salvos or the Louis Vuitton of Vinnies, you're probably not in the right store. Like, you need to look for the ones that look like a little bit run down, or they look like they're using their excess funds into redirecting it into the community, not to the store, and making everything look pretty. So I think,
look, one of my key things is, particularly with the Vinnies and the Salvo stores, I tend to head towards the ones that have got a rack out the front, with a sale rack out the front, because you can generally tell by the quality of what's on that sale rack. Because if it's all Anko and it's all just basic crap, then when you go in the store, it's going to be you're going to have the high prices. Yet if you can find some good pieces off the sale rack, that they're fair and you're going to find some good things in the store.
Yeah, well, I might do a short this week as well, because I've got a couple of days off. But I might do a short this week explaining what I mean by the difference in the stores, because, like I said, that a lot of the ones that I go to is that they are what you would like. I suppose they probably look akin to like a church op shop, right? So they look like they don't look like they're fancy. But then I'll show you ones that I mean by that try and upmarket themselves and and look at the price comparisons. I'll show you those in the video as well.
There's a big difference. And you're right. It's how they present themselves, and you can tell the minute you walk in.
I'll be very confident at the time because, like I said, I've got those little hurricanes coming around. So it's going to be a short episode. But I suppose that I want to get to the point where I made a post on Instagram how I lost $1,500, right? So I want to get into that now, just to close the episode out. But the lady that gave me the SEGA systems, like the Mega Drive and the games and all those different things, mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago that she's going to participate in the School Fate. And I thought, okay, I should use the School Fate thing because, like I said previously, I've got stuff that, it's replenishable, I could sell it and all those different things. Yeah, and what it cost was $50 for a stall, then, you pretty much, that's all your contribution is to the School Fate, right?
Okay, that's good.
So... I was humming and hawing, thinking, well, I could do this. I could do a stall, sell my replenishable stuff. Then eventually got to the point where I was like, couldn't be bothered. Like, I won't say what I really said, but there was an F in that sentence. But and what it came down to is actually went to the School Fate yesterday to help the lady out. That just to kind of say thank you for for the SEGA stuff. And she was like, and not to be mean in any capacity, she wasn't very. She hasn't had experience in the business sense. I gave them experience that I had from from an eBay perspective in my previous experience, right? But she was actually floored with customers, right? So I swear that if I had went there and set my stall up, and I know that's not losing money if you haven't actually. There's an economic term I can't think of. I always think it's unrealized profit, but it's not. But basically, if I had set a store up there, I would have sold out of my stock. So I would have had about $6,000 worth of stock, and I reckon I would have sold out. And generally speaking, I normally pay $6 per unit and sell them conservatively for $10 to $15. And I would have just made them $10 across the board just for ease of use. And I reckon it would have been sold out in two hours just by virtue of the foot traffic there. So,
are you regretting your laziness now?
I am. And that's something that I want to bring up as well is that be mindful. Look at opportunities. Like I was saying, I know I went on a little tirade at the start saying you can't rely on eBay and you can't rely on these things. Look at environments. I wouldn't necessarily go to markets because like what I did with Jamie's video last week, the Everyday Flipper, is that Matt the Aussie Flipper was doing a stall and wasn't having much luck from what Jamie was alluding to. But I think people go to the markets for bargains, right? But school fates,
they do.
People will punching money out left, right, and center like it was like they were at a casino or something. They're just burning through money over trivial crap. I went there. I meant to send you a picture, Granny, but I was too busy. But they actually had a bookstall and they had Bluey DVDs, like box sets of Bluey DVDs for $1, and they were sealed. So these, I think I listed them for $50 for both of them. And books like Dinotopia books, and like $1 each. Like I say, it was like I walked away with that. A box of Goosebumps books, brand new and sealed for $10, and all these different things. Nice. I listed those for $75. So it was definitely a great sourcing opportunity. But you need to look at these things from a selling perspective. And you go back on about Johnny because I must have a fixation with people every week. So Johnny in his video picked up a labyrinth board game, right? So I went back and had a swipe at him saying, well, Leanne and I talked about puzzles before. So don't go pick things up unless you really enjoy building puzzles and stuff like this. You know? Look at selling at toy fairs. Look at selling at things where people are inclined to part with cash more easily. Don't go to markets. Don't try and sell at markets because people are there to they just think markets is almost like an op shop or a thrift store. So
and the other thing is too with the market, you have to get the right. You can sell at markets, but you have to get the right market. So there are markets that specialize in vintage and antique collectibles, and if you've got a lot of that stuff, perhaps that is a good market to go to. But don't go to the market where it's mostly craft stuff and pot plants.
That's right.
Because you're not going to sell anything. Because people are going to go there expecting to be able to buy pot plants, cactus, succulents, and some homemade cushions and stuff. Candles and that sort of thing. They're not going to go along there to be buying whatever it is you're selling. So you need to do a bit of investigation and find out what it is. That's right.
Because we're not saying that, we're going to have someone in the comment section go, I go to the markets and I sell my, my lingerie or whatever it is. But, we're always going to say there's exceptions to the rule, right? But what it comes down to is that, and I have tweeted around before, and because it's always been because it's too hard. Get away from this too hard mentality. I always fall for it. I romanticize it going, hey, look, I could do this. I could hit up my supplier and say, hey, Leanne, can you send me 1,000 units of this? And they'll be like, yep, cool, no worries. They click their finger and they're done. So 2 weeks is enough lead time for me to get this stock in, right?
Yeah.
So, but then I turned around and said, "Oh, all it came down to was me sending an email." I was like, "I really can't be screwed." Sending Lee an email saying, "Hey, can I just sign up for a stall?" Yeah, if I had done that, I'd probably be $2,000, better off today.
Yeah.
For 6 hours work, would be rolling around in cash.
Yeah. And look, markets are hard work. I mean, I've done them, and they are hard work to a certain extent because you have to back up your stock, price it, whatever, put it in your car, make sure you've got the stuff to put on your table, make sure are they supplying the trestles, or do you have to take your trestle, pack a chair, take a coat in case weather gets cold. There is a lot involved. And then at the end, what you haven't sold, you have to then pack back up in the car and take it home.
Yeah.
Like it's physically wearing, but it can be good if you go to the right market and you've got the right stuff.
Well, that's exactly right. So my stuff, right, is like it's a replenishable stock item, right? So it's only one particular thing, and I would go there and sell it, right? So like it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't go there and say, "Hey, look, go to the op shop first and try and buy everything off the op shop." Yeah. Try and sell as a trash and treasure kind of eBay arrangement. You won't do well. But if you've got a replenishable item that's in stock, and this item, kids go batshit crazy over it. And,
I was about to say, I was just about to say the same thing. When you've got an item and you're doing it at a school fete like that is going to be very attractive to kids. Not overly expensive, and the parents are going to be quite happy to pay over that money to keep the kids entertained and keep the kids happy for the hour while they're walking around.
That's exactly right.
Laughing.
And that's right. And that, like I said, and it came down to me sending an email, and I couldn't be bothered sending an email. And like I said, I was knocked back to the point where, I'm accumulating stock now for the next year's fete, and I'm probably going to look around at other school fetes as well, just to say, if you need, like we're saying, is that you can't sell like what Jada sells at school fetes because you'll probably be arrested. But if you've got stuff that's like the replenishable and caters towards like maybe school age children or a wider demographic that will probably go to those school fetes, you're home and hosed. Because our friend borrowed our trestle table, and she had a gazebo there, so she had shade and she had all these different things set up, and it was just a phenomenal experience. I kind of think to myself, why didn't you do this? You would have been like, like money for nothing.
How did your friend go anyway? Did she do all right?
I don't know how she went, but when I left, because I left a couple of hours early, she was overridden with people lining up because she was making badges. So basically she had like a badging thing. So she ordered some stickers in with AliExpress, and then she kids could draw on paper and she turned into badges, right? So
excellent.
I wasn't going to lie, I wasn't too sold on the business plan. I didn't think it was going to be as successful, and I was eating my words because like I said, that people were coming out everywhere. The only recommendation I can give to her, if I've got to be careful, she's going to drop her kids off soon, is that you need to have your money sourced down pat, right? So she was basically working off pay ID and cash only, where this school fetes had a ticket system where you could buy tickets for $10 for 10 tickets or $20 for 25 tickets or something along the lines of that. So so a lot of the stalls were accepting tickets and FPOS facilities and cash, where she wasn't, and this is no fault of her own, she, very green in this respect, where I would probably get a Square or some sort of card reading machine to supplement those. And I think if she had one of those, she probably would have had 4 or 5 times the amount of customers that she probably did at the end of the day. Because people once you say,
the idea of doing the tickets too by the school is a good idea for those people that, haven't got the ability to deal in some form of, electronic transfer stuff too.
That's right. Yeah, because it just got to the point where, I just said to her, look, accept the tickets. I'll buy the tickets off you at $1 each because it's $1 a ticket, right? And I'll just use those tickets because you could buy a sausage sizzle, or you could buy books for tickets, all these different things, right? So she was accepting tickets, and her business went considerably up because that was another revenue people were using, and I was just buying the tickets because I was going to use them anyway, so I just transferred the money from that respect. But definitely, like I said, that if you are looking at engaging with a school fete or something along the lines of that, just engage with the coordinators to see what payment systems because I've never come across this tickets before. I don't know if it's isolated or
I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it before, but excellent idea.
Yeah, it was almost like going to a show where you had a show ticket, right? It was a phenomenal idea. And it's easy because you can give your kids a row of tickets and not have to worry about losing money or anything along the lines of that. So Yeah, and like I said, that it might be a new fad that I'm not too au fait with, but yeah, definitely look into that respect. And if you are looking at setting up a store, have card reading facilities, like something you can just
definitely.
$50
And they're
you
not
can buy yourself a little
expensive.
square. No.
Yeah. My daughter bought one when she was doing markets, and they're not overly expensive to buy. You
That's
can
right.
buy the unit and then set it up how you want to set it up, and it's good.
Because regardless if you like it or not, we are moving away from a cashless society, right? We are moving towards a cashless society. Sorry, and if you have that, card reading ability, and especially if it's only a couple of dollars, like she was selling her badges for $2 each, right? Where I'd sell my product for $10 each. People just tap and go; they won't even think about it.
Yep, exactly.
They're just like when you're actually handing over $2 coins, they're like, oh, if I spend this now, I might be able to get a drink later on. Kind of thing.
Yes.
This mentality plays into them. So you want to kind of make it less past the resistance, I suppose, for making that sale. So, but anyway, Grady, I think we've had enough. We haven't got to Colette's shirt. Colette, one of our loyal viewers, sent us a shirt in from one of her co-workers the other day. So we'll have a quick squiz of that. Look how handsome that man is. He's even got a beard. Like he could be a reseller.
He could be a reseller. Look at that. That is so cool.
I know.
That's funny.
Blake's been aged a little bit since he's come off the podcast. But no, apparently this is one of Colette's co-workers. She sent it to me. And if you email the disgruntledoctopus@gmail.com, it probably will go to my spam folder. So please follow it up with an Instagram message because I don't check it nowhere near as much as I could. But
or send the picture to Instagram probably.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Colette sent it to me email a couple of weeks ago, and it keeps sliding out of the episode. But it's good to see that. Well, that's right. I do like that shirt, so I will keep that man alive when I take over the world. But I don't think we've got time for Grumpy Granny's gears today, Leanne. But
good.
What do you have coming up this week on your space?
So I'm going to be doing a video about starting my challenge that I'm doing, with getting into this $30 lot that I bought as like basically a pallet load of stuff, secondhand clothes. Look, some of it's not so great, which you'll probably get donated back to an op shop or something, but there is some good value in some of it. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly I can turn it over.
No, that's good. And it's like I was talking to Jamie. Like I spoke to him a little bit in the comment section in the last video. Is that it doesn't take much. As soon as you get enough money to build up, you can roll it and roll it and roll it. You're home and host. You're good.
That's right. It's just getting that
start small. Don't have to spend too much. But anyway, I have to go. But thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to see it. Here comes the hurricanes now.
Yeah, I can hear them. Bye.
Bye.